Hello everyone and welcome to CAD Builder version 1.2.0. This new update has brought many new functions to the software, the most exciting of which is our new door module. Now we've had some older global options that dealt with door constructions, and those would be the upper door style, lower door style, and drawer style. And these only changed how the doors and drawer fronts will be rendered, while still giving you the overall size of the doors and drawer fronts in the appropriate door list reports. But if you want to have a hand in manufacturing these doors, either by getting a cut list for your 5-piece doors or sending it to the CNC for cutting out the profile, you will need something a little bit more than that. So we introduced 4 new global options in pursuit of this goal. These are the upper door construction, lower door construction, drawer front construction, and door assignment global options. The first 3 of these will be describing the construction of the doors and drawer fronts, and they are created in our new door catalog module. Now, let us take a brief tour of that catalog and go through its menus, and we will go through its specific controls in later videos. So the new door module will be in the main control panel, right under finishes. This module is made of 4 submodules: doors, drawers, profiles, and rails. The latter of the 2 provide additional utilities for the first 2 modules, so we'll check out the doors module first. On the left side of the screen, you have a list of the categories that visually organize the different door constructions. You can change this at any time, you can rename them, delete them, shift these constructions around, but when you click on a category, it will show you the list of doors under it in the middle of the screen. Clicking on the door construction will then show you its attributes on the right side of the screen, where you can change the name, you can change the technology used, you can attach description and tags. But when you're ready to start editing the door, you go to the top and click Edit to open the door editor. And you'll be brought to the screen. This is going to seem a little bit familiar to your wireframe construction. So the left side of the screen, at the very top, you select what construction method to use for the door, or what technology. You would use 5-piece or slab doors if you're just looking for a cut list of the doors, or you would use slab MDF 1-piece or MDF 2-piece if you're trying to send it over to the CNC. We'll go look at the 5-piece construction first. Below this, you have a list of the parts that make up the door. So in this case, we have the raised panel in the middle, left style, bottom rail, top rail, right style. And clicking on them will highlight them in the 3D render in the middle and show its attributes on the right side of the screen. If you just click on the overall composite element, it will show you the general parameters of the door constructions that you may change. In the middle of the screen, you have your 3D render, so you can click and drag to rotate this view around, zoom in, zoom out with your mouse wheel. At the bottom, you have 3 sliders. You slide to the right to increase the opacity, slide to the left to increase transparency, and 2 other sliders to view this door in different dimensions. At top of the screen, you will see the View 3D button, which will send you to this menu, and then the Door Layout button, which allows you to enter the door editor, where you may add mid-rails, mid-styles, and control the parameters of individual parts if you want them to be different from the default settings. Alright, so let's look at the general parameters over on the right side of the screen. The very top is the SKU of the door. Then you can change the dimensions of the door manually or numerically here if you do not want to use the slider. You can input a description here, and then you get to the door frame sizes. So this is going to describe the global defaults for the door frame sizes, or the widths of the door frame parts in this specific door. If you want to then make different mid styles or different mid rail sizes that are different from the default, you need to go within the door layout, as we will see very shortly. Here you also describe what type of joinery is used in the case of 5-piece. So it can be none, it can be mortise and tenon, or it can be a miter joint. And then you specify the frame style and rail inset, so how much do these parts inset into each other. Then you get to the door panel settings, so the center panel. What is its inset going to be? What is the thickness of the tongue? So if we go to the side here, switch the opacity all the way to full, and hide the right style from view, we can better see what's going on from right over here. All right, so as we change this, this is the tongue, and We can change its thickness, we can change the level, so how far is it from the edge of the back of the door before it starts to appear, and then the inset. This is for raised panel center panel. So you can change this to a flat panel, you can change this to a glass panel, you can have no panel at all, in which case it's just going to be the overall frame. After you've input your door panel settings, you go to the beaded panel options. This is where you can enable whether the center panel gets a beaded profile. That is, if they have grooves that are set at regular intervals, what groove shape to use, what is that groove interval, if it's horizontal or vertical, and what's the width and depth of that profile. And then you get to the options section. So if you do not need a cut list for this door, if you're just going to buy it out, in which case you're just using the construction for the renderings, then you check this on. So it won't be sent to the cut list, and it won't be sent over to the CNC. It will just be represented over in the door list. Then you get to specify whether you apply the banding or not on the outer parts, and whether the grain is horizontal or vertical. And then you get to the profiles section. So for 5-piece construction, this construction is made to just get you your cut list and your rendering. So the profile is specified by a custom shape made in a shape editor like menu found in the third submodule, which is the profiles. So it's not specified by the actual tool bits that will cut the profile out, because it will be just sent over to your cut list. So we will get to how we can create these different profiles shortly, but you have a door edge profile, which will apply to the edges of the frame. You have a panel edge profile. Let's see that in action. So if you like to apply the panel edge profile, you click on this button. You select the profile from the collections on the left. We'll go for the door panel profiles, and we have some default sets of profiles for you to use, but you can of course create some custom ones at any time. We'll do door profile 11, and then we see that profile gets applied to the center panel. And then frame internal edge profile. So if you like to apply a profile to the internal frame edge, you do so directly from here. Then you get to the rails section, where you can apply a special rail shapes for certain constructions like the MDF1 piece, MDF2 piece, and certain 5-piece constructions. And at the very bottom, you get to the replacements menu. This is where you can tell CAD Builder to have a minimum or maximum threshold for this construction. You know, when you get to small enough sizes or big enough sizes, maybe a certain construction won't do as well. So you can tell CAD Builder, okay, when this cabinet, when this door gets to a width of less than 10 inches, for example, replace it with some other door style from your collection. Again, we'll get more into that in future videos. Very well. That's this for the general parameters. If you go within the door layout, you may then select individual frame styles or rails, or mid styles or mid rails, and change their width manually. You may also select the center panel and change its parameters. So if you like to change the parameters of a center panel directly only for that piece, you can do so from here. Here is also where you may add vertical or horizontal divisions, which will add a vertical, a mid style or a mid rail. Subsequently, you can also take mid styles and mid rails and remove them from the construction. So this is where, for example, if I want this center panel, the bottom left, to be different than the others, maybe I do not want it to be a panel at all, maybe I want it to be a glass panel, then I can do so directly from here. So when I go back to the 3D, this is the result. So if you like to create hybrid center panels or hybrid door constructions, that is the menu to go, or adding mid styles, mid rails, door layout. When you are ready to apply all these changes to the construction, you go to the top right, you click Save Door, and then you'll be able to use it within your global options in either upper door construction or lower door construction. Let's head on over to the drawer fronts. The drawer front submodule will follow the exact same logic. So categories on the left, the constructions in the middle, and they too have the same editing menu, where you choose the technology, you choose the parameters, you choose the layout, and the same parameters will apply. Let's go to the other two submodules. So profiles is, once again, where you define those custom profile shapes. So you do this by going within a shape editor like menu, where you define the parameter or perimeter of that shape, and you tell Cat Builder the size of that profile and where it's intended to be applied, be it on the edge of the doors, on the inner of the frame, inner part of the frame, on the outside of the panel itself, or for any other shape. And then the same applies for rails. You go in here, you specify rail shapes. You can make some of your own with a custom shape that you make in the shape editor, or you can go with one of the standard shapes and change their parameters. Going back to the doors, so the other three technologies are slab, and we have MDF one piece and MDF two piece. Slab's more intended for when you have a flat door, maybe with a door edge or of some sort, and you can send this both to the cut list and to the CNC. Then we have MDF one piece, and this is more intended for single piece MDF constructions. Let's make this back into a raised panel. For a single piece MDF construction, like for example, a raised panel MDF door, it's all going to be cut from the single piece of MDF. And then we have MDF two piece. MDF two piece constructions will have, let's make a panel recess, a panel inset of 0, half an inch, and then we will take away the internal profile that we set. So the MDF two piece is more intended for your two piece shaker doors, right? Where you have a frame on the outside of the door and then a center panel on the inside. Cat Builder can send that both to the cut list and to the CNC to cut it out for both the center panel and the overall frame shape around it. We'll take that door edge as well. Now, how would you define the profiles in these raised panel profiles or the MDF two piece constructions? These are going to have to be described by the actual tool shapes that you will use to cut it out. And this is done within the tools library. So we head on over to the cut list module. We go to the top left, click on the tools library, and we will see two new menus, tool groups for the panel and tool groups for the edge profiles. And in here, well, again, we'll go through more detail in future videos, but in here you specify the profile to be cut by the actual shape of the tools themselves. So for example, here I put an order of 2 passes of the 3/8 inch compression, then a pass of the bead, a pass of a beveled cove, and a pass of an 1/8 inch downcut to finally make this profile. This profile I will then use to go to the door catalogs. Let's make a raised panel construction. I'm going to once again change this to a raised panel. I'm going to take away the different rails so we can see better what's going on. And we will make this out of MDF one piece. And to apply that tool group profile, we go over to the door route tool group this time. Click on this button and select from the profile shapes that we have made here. So let's go for the sample bevel rail. We'll actually use the example raised panel. And as you can see, the profile gets shown. And this is essentially what's going to be the result of the door once your CNC has fully cut it out. Now, how do we get the tool shapes? Once again, that's going to be done within the cut list, tools library. And it's going to be found in the tool parameter. So you first select a tool on the left. Let's go with the sample bead, for example. And you'll see a new button here called Edit Shape. And this once again gets you into a shape editor like menu where you can describe the perimeter of the tool. Now this is going to be the right side half of that tool, right? When the tool, let's say it cuts into the material, what is that cross section going to look like? Half of it. And so Cat Builder will take that half, mirror it on the other side, and then use it to describe your tool group. That's it. And the last new menu to look at would be the door assignment. So we go over to the material assignment. We click on door, the door menu. And it's very straightforward, similar to the cabin material assignment. It's just going to tell CAD Builder what materials to use for what piece of the door constructions, depending on the construction that you will use. So these are the 5-piece door frame materials, and then the door panel materials found here, again, depending on the type of center panel that you will use, and then banding specified here if you choose to apply so within that door construction. Thank you for watching this video. We will go into more detail in each of these menus, how to control them, how to set them up in future videos. So thank you for watching and hope you have a good day.